This is our Sunday evening live. It's 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And I'm excited to welcome all of you once again to this live. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Okay, so quickly to introduce myself, those of you who will be meeting me for the first time, I'm Aastha, your happiness coach, and I work with corporate leaders and I help them in creating deep bonds and meaningful relationships at their workplaces. And we are going to be talking about something which is very, very relevant in the workplace relationship context and also very, very relevant when it comes to your whole work experience. Yeah. So I so want to talk about it, and I'm going to tell you why I've picked up this topic today. That you keep playing the same story, but you want a different ending. Happens? Are you able to relate with this? So I want you to let me know the moment you join in, drop in a hi, let me know that you are here so that I can welcome you. And also, do share what are your experiences, what are your thoughts about the topic. As you hear this out, as you listen to this, please pour in your experiences and your thoughts and your perspectives. Would love to hear that, right? Great. So let's get started. So, yeah. So, at workplaces, what actually happened was today I was on a call with one of the leaders, and it was part of the whole coaching intervention that's going on. And we were talking, so we were talking about some work that he had agreed to do, and he was talking about it, and then he came back very very quickly from where he picked up a thread loose thread, and he quickly reached back to his story, the one which is causing him the maximum pain, with one of his juniors. Okay, and he keeps coming back to this every coach call, or any discussion that we're having. He quickly goes back to how much painful it is and what's the latest update in that story. So this junior, Mr. Junior, if I call him, this is what he did today. This is his intention. Every time I'm doing this, he goes and he starts doing this. Today, what he did when we were having this discussion, etc., etc. And there he goes, right? And which made me think and decide on talking about this whole thing around what's the story that you have for every person at your workplace, whether it's your boss, whether it's your colleague, the teammate, right? Or it's the investors, your business partner, people at your any stakeholder. What is the story that you have created for that person? Number one. And that story, when you are playing and replaying again and again, you're doing that subconsciously, you come back to it, you are strengthening it, and that just becomes your natural way of viewing that whole relationship setup, the camaraderie. For you, then there is no other way of looking at that relationship. And something which started, it was not this intensity as it is today, but something which started like, oh, what he did today, it wasn't as pleasant, it wasn't good, this is not how you behave, this is not what you do, etc., etc. Something which was little small, and then another event happened and you added on to the story with little more adjectives, with some more labels, and then yet another event happened and then you did the same thing, and that story keeps getting spicier, keeps getting more, it keeps getting stronger, but the foundation of the story remains the same. Yeah, which is maybe a disconnect, maybe a strained chemistry there. That's what it is. And then you keep adding, keep reinforcing that story through those little events that are happening. So your relationship, or your story for that person, whoever that other person is, it remains that. Now there comes a point over time it starts to hurt you. So when you have a certain relationship and your view becomes like There are blinders, and you view only in one single direction. This is how my boss is. This is how my business partner is. This is how my colleague is. This is how my spouse is. So you have that one story. Here comes another event. Here comes another instance. They behaved a certain way, adds on to your story, goes on and on. And then there comes a point where you no longer feel comfortable to take it. You want a different outcome, you want a different ending, you want a twist in the story, you want a shift, but you're not willing to change the story. You want the end to be different. You want the end, as in, if I use it, I'm using it metaphorically, but you want the end of the story to be different. You want a different relationship outcome. You want your boss to change. You want your business partner to listen to you. You want your spouse to understand you, and you are no more in a position to take it in its current shape and form, right? However, as much as you want that, what you don't realize is that you've got to change the story. You cannot be running and rerunning the same story and you expect a different ending. That's not going to happen. And why? Because when you are running the same story, then your whole approach towards that relationship, your whole way of being is just the same, more intensified version of what it is. Disconnect. I don't approve of you. There's something wrong with you. I'm blaming you. Whatever it is, there is some problem with you. Only if you change yourself can things really become better. Same version, same story, and just become stronger. So your whole way of being is like that, and that's how you enter, every day into that story, right? So now, when I say changing the story, it means that you've got to change the lens, the filter. You've got to change how you are viewing the other person, right? So that you're able, whatever you say. So when you start saying, hey, you know what? This person, again, he did the same thing. You know what happened today? We were in the meeting and I started to speak up and he cut me in the middle. Now that's not the way he did that. I mean, I was expecting that's how it's going to be. And you go on and on and on, and all your emotions with full intensity coming in there. Now that's where you've got to stop that. You've got to change the story, and that will require a lot of awareness on your part. Hi Mukta, welcome. That will require a lot of awareness, lot of consciousness on your part, where you start to see what is it that I am, what is the story. That one, I get aware of the story, and second, I need to stop running the same story for the boss, for the colleague, for whoever it is, whether they are present or not present, whether I keep going back to that story when I'm talking to other people at the workplace, or whether I keep repeating that story to myself. I need to stop doing that. Unless I stop doing that, I cannot have a different ending. I cannot have a different outcome, because that's become a very myopic view of looking at that person, of treating that person, of accepting or not accepting that person, and then therefore nothing can change. So coming back to this leader who I'm talking about, he is so quick to go back to this junior of his and blame him for all the misery and all the pain that's there in his life. And one action he tries and take in the direction of changing the story, and he's quick to come back, which is normal. He quickly comes back, brings in 10 more things to make that story stronger. Now, in such a scenario, can he ever get over it? His whole life is revolving around that one strained relationship with his junior. And if he wants to create a different outcome, he says he wants to turn around his relationship with this junior. He wants to have a different end to his story. But what he's doing every day, consciously or subconsciously, is running that same story. He's this, he's that, he's doing this, he's not doing this, he doesn't listen, his agenda is to overpower me, he doesn't want me to grow, he backbites. Oh, he's got tons of it. We all do. Yeah. So that's where I just wanted to share, picking up from him, because this happened right today, that it's like a home emotion for us. We quickly go back to it again and again. And this we're doing for every person. You have a story for your boss, you have a story for your colleague, you have a story for your teammate, for your subordinate, for everybody. And with full emotional investment, you run that story every day, and then you say, oh, I want a different outcome. But how to do that? It's not happening because the other person is not willing. Well, the question you need to ask yourself, are you willing to do it? And if you're willing to do it, if you can't take the pain anymore, then are you willing to do the hard work? Are you willing to really put all the intentionality there, and with all consciousness, with awareness, be aware of what is it that I'm saying? What is the language that I'm using? I'm not going to be using this language for my boss now. What he's doing is a separate matter altogether. That's not what we are talking about right now. That's not in your control. But if I want to change the end of the story, then the story needs to change. Like, just get it here. If you want a different outcome, the story needs to change. So get aware of what's the story that you're running and rerunning. Then what is the new story that you want to create now for the boss? And I'm not talking about faking it. I'm not talking about some optimistic positivity here where, no, 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 create a very, very positive statement here. No, whatever within your heart knows, within your heart, whatever is permissible, whatever you think you're able to resonate with, it just needs you to sit down, declutter, and see what is it that I can really look at, which will empower me, which will be a different story. And then the outcome is later, but for now, what is that story that I'm going to run and rerun and rerun? So within that, can I say that, maybe my boss is dealing with a lot of things, he's got tons of responsibilities. So I think, can I go and have a conversation with him? Can I seek his time? I understand there are a lot of gaps, but what is it that I can bring to the table? So things like that. And these are four areas where I feel he has supported me, where I really value his opinion. And that day this event happened, and this is what he gave me, or this is how he helped me, etc., etc. So bringing in things which will change your story, and change your story means it'll change how you feel, how you your experience of this relationship. Right now is the time to kind of validate it. And now, when with this story you go and meet this person, you interact with him, you have your daily chores with him, it's going to be a different experience, and you will start to see a different outcome. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen, अरे मैंने तो एक अलग स्टोरी क्रिएट की पर कुछ बदला नहीं. No, it also comes, I think, everything comes from your personal internal commitment. How committed do you stand to creating what you really desire? Right, so within this relationship also, how committed are you? So once, twice, maybe 10 times you do it, over and over again. One of the two things will happen. You will realize that yes, the shift is coming, the boss is reciprocating, and yes, this a way forward. Yeah. Or you will realize that this is it. Beyond this is not going to work, and you'll be able to make a conscious choice there. Yeah. Either ways, the outcome changes. Yeah. Only when you've changed the story. And I've just picked up one part of it. This may involve you changing the story about, or rather, uh, the story, your part of the story, right? I'd say in the story, which is the camaraderie between the two of you about this relationship. So what's the story, and how does it revolve around you? So what is it that you say about yourself in the story? Your involvement, your participation in the story. If that's also pulling you down, that must change. Yeah. So you've got to see it from different angles. See what that story is. What are you saying? What is it that you are constantly feeding yourself? And if you feed the same stuff, then you're not going to get a different outcome. You're eating the same food and you want that, oh, next day I should wake up healthy. Doesn't happen. So that's where bring in that awareness, bring in that willingness, set that context for yourself. What's the whole, um, you know, the whole context of this work that you're doing, and get on with it. Get on to change this story. And you will see, I can guarantee you will not have the same outcome provided you're changing the story. What it's going to be, only time will tell. Nobody can guarantee exactly what outcome it's going to be, but it's going to be a different outcome. So bring that change and have a different outcome. Run the same story and keep sulking. Nothing's going to change. Yeah. Correction of our thoughts and intentions about the other person needs to be checked. We give more emphasis on behaving well externally, but it's important. But it is more about what do we internally think about him or her. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So I think very well said, Mukta, and bang on. Yes, it's about going a layer deeper and not getting stuck on the actions and behaviors, right? And going a layer deeper and seeing um, what is it which is really causing me to create that story, you know. So which boils down to what's that story, or the beliefs, or the language, or the view, perspective, whatever term you want to attach to it. But you go and see within what's happening, because that story is governing you, and that's how you are behaving, that's how you are acting out there, and that has an impact. So if you really want to turn around the whole game, the ending, get on with changing the story. I hope this made sense. If you, whenever you hear this, whenever you listen to this, you watch this video, please drop in a comment with, what is your experience and what is your perspective on this. If there's anything that you've done in this direction, if you're able to relate that, yes, I'm running a story in this particular relationship and that has a certain impact, how it impacts the ending, and then this is what I desire. So anything within this, please feel free to put in, and I think it's going to be enriching for all of us. It's going to be a different perspective. What is it that you've experienced? What worked, what didn't work, and any thoughts that you have on this. It'll be great if you could do that. It is an energy exchange. Yes. Even if one will do, another will transform. Absolutely. And I think that's the most amazing part of it. You rightly brought this up even today, while I was having this masterclass in the morning, and people ask, people question, and they say, oh, I'll do the work, but what about the other person? He's not doing the work, he's not transforming, he's not putting in any effort. How will the camaraderie change? And that's where I want to tell you, people, we get so much into analysis. Even if you get an answer there, then you go on further analyzing and questioning and putting in all your intellect into the whole thing. I'm saying the easiest would be karke dekho. Please do it and see for yourself. Discard something only when you think it's not worked. How can you discard something where there are so many examples, enough and more examples of transformation caused by one person committing to doing the work and changing his whole experience and the environment? There are examples, and yet you want to doubt. You're already in a state which is not working for you. सो नहीं तो है ही, इट्स नॉट वर्किंग एनी वे, तो करके देख लो, नहीं करेगा कोई बात नहीं, बट यू ट्राइड समथिंग. बट what if it turns around? What if it changes the whole story, the ending of the story? Would it be worth it? And you have no idea. When you do the work, what is it that you pass on to the other person? What is it that you, the kind of space that you provide, then you have no clue what power it holds. So I can only urge you again and again to really look at every time we have these conversations. And I always share with you that every topic that I pick, whether it is my Instagram live or it is the Sunday lives, which is in LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook, the topics are all things which I have recently experienced in my life, or it is with a client. And I feel that there is nothing more powerful than doing this work. So I can only say, please go ahead and try this out if you've not done it. Try the things before discarding them, consider them before discarding them. For all you know, it can be miraculous for you. For all you know, you don't know which of these can become a game changer for you. At least go ahead and try, right? So do let me know. I'd love to hear from all of you. What's your takeaway? What is it that resonated the most with you? And hi Ashish, welcome. Thank you for joining in. Yes, Mukta, this I just love this one. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. True, true. We all read all of this, and when it comes to implementation, we just back off. Who's gonna do the work and work here on me myself? So yes, agree. Ashish, I'm eager to help people, but when it comes to me, they are not helpful. Okay. Great. So I'd say, Ashish, just see whatever you can do, keep doing, keep serving. You'll have all kinds of people, which is fine. But and here I would just want to say that there's this fine line where not to step beyond this. Give, give, but give from a place where you're not emptying yourself, where you start to feel the pain. You're giving, 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 and at the same time, don't live in an illusion that, oh, see, I'm doing everything. And this is not pointing fingers at you, but I'm saying in general, I've gone through this as well. The illusion that I'm just giving and the other person is willing to receive but not willing to give anything. For all I know, there is something that I'm missing out, and that can only be figured out when you dive deep inside. It's not at the level of action. It's about, what is it that I'm carrying here. So when I go and serve somebody with the whole thing that I am doing, मैं ही कर रही हूँ, सामने वाला तो कुछ नहीं कर रहा, it's going to have a different impact. And when I go and serve with what's here is that I just want to give with all my heart and soul. um, no expectations. Let me see, let me just do that. Can I just do that? It's going to have, maybe you're doing the same thing in both the cases, but trust me, the impact, the outcome is going to be absolutely different, right? So it's about turning here, and before going out there, because outside there is nothing is in your control, right? What those people are doing is not in your control, and you can go on living with the agenda of, he needs to change, they need to change. But only if I can turn the focus here and see what is my context of serving, or when I approach that other person, what is going on here, what's the whole story that's there in my head as I'm serving. Yeah. And I can tell you, when that story is clear, I've seen it and I still see it. When my story is not serving me, it's not serving the other person, it's a different outcome. I don't desire, it's an undesirable one. And when I'm able to change that story, I see a shift in the outcome. So I can vouch for it. It's going to shift. It's very powerful. And ऐसा नहीं हो सकता, sooner or later it's going to shift. And I'm not trying to say that you start going with an agenda कि चलो ये करता हूँ तो ये outcome आ जाएगा. There are too many variables there, but you'll reach a stage where you'll have more clarity, is all I can say. Yeah, I hope that helps. So keep that eagerness alive, help people, and at the same time, just be aware of that line where you're not damaging yourself and you're not hurting yourself. Know when to pull off. That's very important, I would say. Yeah. Great. Thank you for that share. Thank you, Mukta. I hope you all found this meaningful. There was some takeaway, some input. Do share. That's what makes it meaningful. And I'm going to see you next Sunday. Work on workplace relations with Astha with another topic. Till then, have a great, great week ahead. Keep doing the work and lots of love, lots of happiness to you. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.